Good evening, everyone. How are we? Hopefully you can all hear us and things are working correctly. Yes, it seems like they are, so happy days. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Trek Central Weekly for the week being Sunday, the 21st of March. That's coming quick. I'm, of course, joined by a very special guest and one of our new co-hosts, Mr. Tracklad, aka Michael. How are you doing?
Hey, it's great to be here. Thank you so much for having me on board, Captain Jack. It's going to be an amazing adventure.
It really is. Now, you're going to be joining us for the next couple of weeks in the foreseeable future as a new co-host here on Trek Central Weekly Live, and obviously our audio versions and podcast versions, which are going up as well as recordings of this show. And it's exciting to work together a bit more closely as well, because we've done on and off shows before, but it's going to be exciting to work together going forward, especially into what's coming up with Trek as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I made my debut, my Trek Central debut a few months ago. We did a similar one like this, and had a really good time, and some really good people watching the Trek Central content, so hello to you all. And yeah, some really exciting developments going on in the Star Trek universe. We've got some shows coming. Oh, it's a good time to be a fan, isn't it?
It really is. Now, we're going to discuss a lot of this evening, including Strange New Worlds and Prodigy and all the latest news we've passed over the last couple of weeks now, as we skipped Trek Central Weekly just to reschedule some stuff. Nick's currently away. Dom's not feeling too well. I was also busy as well, so we skipped a couple of weeks. But in doing so, we've not had a chance to discuss like the Strange New Worlds cast, the Prodigy information, all the book news that's come out as well. Luckily, it's all been over on TrekCentral.net and here in video form as well. So if you have missed the streams, you can go back and read or watch that for yourselves, etc. But we're going to discuss it here with you guys tonight. Don't forget to get your thoughts down in the live chat, and if you listen just on podcast form as well, don't forget you can tweet to us and go anywhere else and send us in your notifications, etc. And we'll get back to you at some point. Anyway, please, guys, feel free to mention things in the chat tonight. We'll be answering the questions as we go through our discussion points. A couple of things regarding the chat. We turned your mic up there just quickly. We've got a few things to discuss as well, such as like the latest news this week. Michael, I don't know if you've seen this. Like, there's a new campaign going around called Trek Against Pancreatic Cancer. Have you seen this coming around? I believe Jonathan Frakes is part of it, and Armin Shimon.
No, this is news to me.
So, this is a little campaign that's been started, and a couple of Trek stars are joining up to support each other for another great cause. It's against pancreatic cancer. Jonathan Frakes, Armin Shimon, and Kitty Swink are lending their support to the Purple Stride Los Angeles event in aid of that network, which is really cool. You can read more of this on TrekCentral.net. Along with that was pretty cool as well. Have you seen they've announced new Funkos for Star Trek? Did you see those in the week?
I have. I don't have any Funkos at all in my personal collection. I'm an Eagle Moss guy, but if they make an official Funko Star Trek collection, I need more things to spend money on. So sign me up.
I know I've got like a few Funkos of the Star Wars themed in a minute, so we shan't mention those ones. But no, I do collect them. Okay, I don't think I've bought one. The rest of them seem to be people getting them for me for like birthday and Christmas, thinking, oh, it's nerdy stuff. He'll like that. And I'm like, yeah, okay, all right.
So the thing is I'm aware that Funko already have a line of Star Trek figures. So is this a dedicated line? Is this an official line? I mean, how does that work, or do we not yet know?
I think they're just bringing out like different themed ones, etc. So like this seems to be the original series, and also Mirror Universe styled as well. So we've got like Mirror Universe like Kirk, I think, and we've got a Gorn, we've got a Uhura and Spock, etc. So it seems like they may be doing different themes, etc. Like per like different ones. I know TJ in the chat saying if they do Strange New World Funkos, we're gonna have to get those, or we will be ordering those in bulk if they do Strange New Worlds ones. I cannot wait for those.
Yeah, I'd like to see like maybe some sort of faces from Star Trek's past collection. So, you know, we could do maybe the cast from The Cage, maybe, and they can all be black and white Funkos. That would be really, really cool. But yeah, to kind of give us something else. Or maybe even give us some Funko Enterprise models, maybe. Is that possible?
That could be interesting. I don't know. It could be interesting. I guess like Eagle Moss and Hero Collective have already got like the model thing locked down really well. So I wonder, I don't know. Speaking of that, by the way, we've seen some new Eagle Moss like models that come out recently. The Zheng He, aka Riker's Inquiry class ship, Inquiry, whichever one, and we've also got the La Serena coming out as well. Have you got any of those yet? Have you picked up any new models or planning on picking them up?
Probably not from Picard, but yeah, I did see them. I mean, the Eagle Moss models are so detailed. They're so, you know, are we allowed to plug Eagle Moss? I'm gonna plug them anyway.
We're great friends with them. Plug them. Plug away. I've got them on the shelf here as well.
I recently got the Enterprise E. A good friend gifted me this, and it is the sexiest thing.
Is that the normal one or the bigger one?
It's the XL. So yeah, it's the sexiest thing in this room, apart from me, maybe.
You're gonna make me want to order one of those. The model, by the way, not you. Why can't I find TrekCloud on Amazon? What the hell? I was thinking of getting some of the XL models recently because I'm quite a fan of like Eagle Moss's and Hero Collector's other collections, like the Battlestar ones. So I'm a big fan of that Reimagined franchise. So I've got like the obviously Adama's Battlestar Galactica, and I've got the Pegasus on my big shelf over here, along with the Discovery. The Discovery model, although it's a basic one, almost is the size of an XL one because the Discovery is so big by itself, like it dwarfs the little Odyssey class I've got here for the special one. So yeah.
I think it's the only frustration I have with Eagle Moss and Hero Collector is the availability on some of these items. You know, I've been trying to buy the reimagined Battlestar Galactica model for like a year, and the availability it's just always out of stock.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I'm just too slow. But if you're listening, Eagle Moss Hero Collector, please make more of the reimagined Battlestar Galactica. I need one.
I was trying to get the Pike's Enterprise recently because I quite like, obviously we can discuss Strange New Worlds in a minute, I quite like Pike's reimagined Enterprise, I guess we can call it, or the modern Enterprise. And I was like, I want to get one for the shelf because I thought Strange New Worlds is coming up, I need something on theme, etc. Let's get one of those. But that's been out of stock for a while, and I keep checking back like every other week. I'm like, come on, I'm going to email them a minute ago, any chance of a deal? we'll do a whole video, please.
Oh, I know. I spend far too much money with those guys, but you know, now with Funko coming on. Oh yeah, I mean, what else are we going to spend our money on?
Exactly.
Right?
For me, it's like, it's worthwhile. Like one of the best models I've got on the shelf, I know people can see it, I can't see it as that shot right now, it is the NX refit, and we've just done a video on this in a week called Secret Enterprise. Go watch it if you want to learn about what the NX-01 might have become if Enterprise continued. I got that model a couple of years back now. Best model, honestly. I was using the magazine to help write that video as well, and like seeing something that wasn't technically on screen that you can imagine in your hands, I love it. Ship models are like my passion.
How much of a tragedy is it that we never saw that ship on the TV, right? Though?
It's Enterprise's 20th anniversary year. Does that make you feel old yet?
Yes. Yeah, just a bit. But
I'm gonna
yeah,
sit here and smile.
Yeah, man. I mean, you'll get there. You'll get there one day. One day, the kids will be going, Discovery. Oh, that's an old show, isn't it? And you'll be like, ugh.
What's quite funny is I released the Secret Enterprise video, and I obviously said it's 20th anniversary, and so many people commented going like, 20 years? Christ, that's gone fast. I'm like, I don't want to get to that age, to be honest. That's going to be a shocker.
Here's an interesting fact for you, and I mean, some of you may know this, some of you may not, but did you know that Enterprise, the producers originally didn't want Faith of the Heart? They actually wanted U2's Beautiful Day to be the theme, and I played around on Premiere Pro earlier on, and I actually loaded the opening credits in, and I layered the song over it. It doesn't work. It doesn't work.
I've seen like multiple different versions of people like trying different themes for Enterprise, etc. And like a lot of people say Archer's theme, which he was playing at the start here, or a modified version, should have been it. I think that works, but Archer's theme as well also like fits certain sections. Personally, I thought Faith of the Heart, although it was different, was very fitting for, you know, Enterprise, because when you listen to the words of the song, it's very much like the early NX crew. It's like going where your heart will take you, you know, going where no one's gone before, essentially. The song essentially says that in it. I'm like, this is very fitting and very uplifting. Like, no one's going to beat you down. This is really the first humanity's Warp 5 ship. We're going there, whether you like it or not, and we're going to do it. I'm like, the song fits, to be honest.
Look, people say the song's corny. Are you trying to say Star Trek's corny? Because the song's lyrical content is Star Trek. So anybody that's going, I don't like that song, shut up. Just like it.
I always remember an interview with Cole Meany, who played Chief Miles O'Brien, where it's like a presenter going, did you not feel a bit silly like going around in all the uniforms? He turns around and goes, do you not feel silly in that hat you're wearing? I'm like, fair enough. I've got to find that interview at some point because it's golden. It really is. I believe he's actually done an interview recently discussing whether he'd return to Star Trek, obviously with Picard, you know, being in his realm, etc. And I think he said, you know, he'd return if the character was needed. He doesn't want to pop up for the sake of it. He'd only return if needed, which makes sense and aligns with what Kurtzman and all the other execs have said about bringing back legacy characters.
Yeah, I think it's really important the return, the story makes sense. It has to make sense for these people to come back. And we think about people like Cole Meany with Miles O'Brien. You know, we think about all of the characters from Deep Space Nine, given the fact that they probably had the best journey from start to finish. personally, and I know that I'm probably in the minority here, I don't want to see any of them return because I just think that it was so perfectly wrapped up in a bow. And I know, Cisco says at the end, I'll be back, but I like the fact that he never comes back because it's so bittersweet. It's so tragic. I don't want to see any of those guys return, but if they can break a story that makes total sense, then yes, then do it.
Yeah, exactly. It has to make sense realistically, and that's what matters. I always look like I've just finished rewatching Stargate Atlantis, which is one of my favorite series around, and that obviously coincided with SG-1, the big series, and they had crossovers from time to time. Although it was in the same time frame, so they had the ability to do it, they didn't like bring the whole cast over for the sake of like, hey, look what we're doing. It was like, okay, we're going there. This character from the other show will be there. It makes sense to put them there. And like that's always like a very well done example of when to utilize your legacy characters. It's like when they did the crossover episodes in Next Gen and DS9. Bashir came aboard the Enterprise to do experiments. That made sense because they were there at DS9. Bashir, of course, would be wandering around, and if your flagship of Starfleet's there, you probably would pop on to do some experiments. It's like it does make sense. I'd love to see all these characters return. But, it loses its value, I think, if they all just pop up with, like, some big party reunion on the bridge of a new starship in a way. It's like, okay, it's a bit unbelievable now.
Yeah, and it's also, you run the risk of potentially tarnishing a legacy. Now, I think that the way they handled Jerry Ryan 7 of 9 in Picard I think she was a highlight of that season. And it could have gone so badly wrong. Now, I know there are people that didn't like what they did with 7, but that's not for this discussion. They did it well. It made sense. It served a purpose. If they can find how to do that with other, icons from the Star Trek universe, by all means. But if they're just shoehorning people in just for the sake of, we're going to please the fanboys, the fanboys are going to be the first people to go, this sucks. Why is this happening? Is this needed?
Exactly. It's one of those cases, like, it's a double-edged sword in a sense, isn't it? Like, you have to, like, get it perfectly in the middle to not upset the hardcore fans and not like make it so it doesn't seem meh in general, to put it bluntly. Anyway, we've like dragged on, etc. Before we jump into Strange New Worlds, you had a good announcement today. I believe your channel, which is youtube.com/treklad, you reached 1.5k subscribers on Friday or Saturday, was it?
Yeah, it was Friday. Yeah, just the meager 1.5. But yeah, it's been. Yeah, we all have to start somewhere. I started the channel in July of last year, and while I've not quite found the content sweet spot, so to speak, it's been an amazing ride. And obviously it's opened so many doors, meeting you, joining the Trek Central team. It's just been so much fun. And yeah, passing 1.5, trying to get to 2 hopefully by the summer, and seeing where we go from there. But it's been tremendous so far, and thanks so much for having me on board as well.
I was the other week, I think we passed our 2-year anniversary here at Trek Central, which when I mentioned a about being old, I'm like, that's come around pretty quickly. I remember starting it yesterday. Now it's like 2 years on already. I'm like, oh my god. Next it'll be like,
it's been a fun journey
years.
though, right?
It has been. Like, I look back and like, from when we started TC, it was me going, actually very originally, do you remember a game that came out called Anthem? It came out and basically flopped really badly. It's by EA.
You're speaking to the wrong guy. I'm like the least gamer knowledgeable person ever.
Anyway, cut a story short. They brought this game out called Anthem, and it looked basically like Iron Man and it's like sci-fi, right up our avenue, etc.
Right.
And I was like, cool. So I started a little channel called Anthem Central. However, the game came out and basically went completely off a hill and did not take off. It was a complete mess. There was no content. The developers went, yeah, we're done with this, and wandered off. 2 years later, they finally cancelled it as of last month. But I started Trek Central as a follow-up because Anthem Central never worked. I was like, well, I want to do something else. So I started TC back in 2019 because I was like, cool, let's do something like interesting, something I also like, which happens to be Star Trek. I never shut up about it. So we started Trek Central back then, covering the end of Discovery Season 2 at the time. That's a long time ago now. I moved past there, obviously discussing Control and how it mixed into the books, etc. And then we journeyed off from there, the run up to Picard, entered the premiere event, etc. Done DST, all of that. And yeah, it's been a long 2 years, but really worth it. Now as we've got, the live show here, you're taking part, got the a big team going on, and like multiple new avenues going as well. So the little like channel that could has grown into something very cool and very positive for the Star Trek community overall, I hope. And I'm glad people are enjoying the content we put out and actually, get involved with it. And also I get to shitpost Star Trek on Twitter occasionally, which is hilarious.
Well, and I think you've worked hard. You've put a lot of time into this, a lot of effort, and I mean, it's you're the rewards are there to see. I've got a question for you though. With 2 years coming up, what has been your proudest? Well, no, actually, what's been your happiest moment with Trek Central, but what's also your proudest achievement in the 2 years that the channel's been going?
Probably, it might be, I think one of the best, like, happiest moments and proudest bits was, like, the team being invited to the Star Trek Picard premiere by Amazon themselves in London. I was like, that, like, because I was actually given a job offer at a time to go and work for a game studio, and it was, like, in marketing, etc., which is sort of my background as well. And I was like, maybe I'll accept that. But the next day I got an email from Amazon going, want Trek Central to come to the Star Trek Picard premiere in London. I'm like, job offer? My own thing? Not bad, let's go do this. You know, I think that's probably the proudest thing, like having a small channel, because I think we was only at like 20 or 30k at the time, and then to be like invited to a worldwide premiere of Sir Patrick Stewart, Ian McKellen, etc., Jason Isaacs, all these stars walking like 10 centimeters by. I'm like, to take our small team there and do that, etc., at the time, and then see what it grows into now is fantastic. It only shows me that if we all continue working extremely hard, and it's not just myself behind Trek Central, I've got a really fantastic senior team and also a team of contributors as well. If we all work extremely hard, when Strange New Worlds comes around and many other shows, if we can be those premieres and talking them and having fun and sort of communicating the positive and negative aspects of the Star Trek fandom to everyone out there, it'll be fantastic. So yeah, that's probably one of my proudest achievements, was the Picard premiere in a way.
Nice. One day, maybe they might be inviting one Trek lad to a Star Trek premiere. Maybe.
I reckon it's possible.
I just have to stay in your good books, all right?
Yes. I reckon it's possible, you know, and they invited many fans as well. I remember being in London, and it seems so alien now, like big events in London, etc. It was only like January 2020, which already seems like 10 years ago anyway.
I know.
And like all these big events, there were like many fans. It was like we met like many people we knew off Twitter, etc. I know Dom like met up some people as well. It was like a really cool experience. And one of the best things as well is going to like DST. I think you went to the 2019 version, didn't you? The DST?
I did, yeah. Oh man, I miss people.
Yeah, I'm hoping, cross fingers, we can maybe do events this year. It'll be hit or miss, but I'm hoping even if some small meetups, etc., it'd be really nice, because I do miss events. Because events are like a great place for communities to come together, to see people you've not seen in years, etc. It really is like a shame we've not got them right now.
Well, Star Trek is nothing without the fans, right? And, you know, while we've been able to connect and engage and create communities online, that's great. But, you know, being able to get people in a room together and, you know, share the love of all things Star Trek and sci-fi in general, you know, that's what we're moving towards. And, you know, we got to take baby steps, you know, to make sure that we can do safely. But when we can do it safely, my word, it's going to be a party.
Oh, I cannot wait for the pies. It's gonna, you know, it's just gonna go wild. Whether it be this year, the end of this year, or next year, it is going to be very interesting when these events come out. I'm hoping we can do DST this year, because I believe it's in November in London. So there's a chance. Obviously, it just currently depends on, you know, how things are going and whether it's like entirely possible. It will be a case of like waiting to see. Anyway, moving past the negative aspects of that, chat, feel free to send your questions, etc. Check out, love to see you, man. Love seeing you guys at the Picard premiere. I know it seems ages ago now. I've forgotten like nearly everything as well, because it goes around, etc. Yeah, hopefully we're gonna have a Trekker Cat on the stream soon. I believe I'm going to reveal that now because I'm in charge, so I can say it. We are going to do like a Lego Star Trek stream at some point. Trekker, you invited to this as well, because I think it'd be really cool. So basically, Trekker Cat. I'm sorry if I say your name incorrectly. I know it's like free cat. Triple C. There we go. That's the nickname now. Sounds like a hood like nickname, doesn't it? Triple C. We're gonna do like a Lego Star Trek stream at some point. Maybe in the next couple of weeks when we get the parts ordered. Because Trekker Cat's been making these like mini Star Trek models of Lego. You've probably seen them on Twitter. So we can do that. And I've had this really cool idea of getting us all together for an evening like this Trek Central Weekly, and we all try and build our own little set. Like I'll get the other webcam so people can see my desk, and it'd be really cool to like try and build it. I think it'd be a great little something unique as well, some unique content. So that's what we'll be doing in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah, big shout out to Triple C. He's one of the first people that I got friendly with on Twitter when I first joined this community. Really talented guy. I had him on the podcast a few months back, and you know, his love for Star Trek. I love how creative people get. You know, we make YouTube videos and streams and stuff, and you know, Triple C makes amazing things happen with Lego. And you know, obviously Lego doesn't support Star Trek models because they're into the other franchise. But you know what he can do with Lego and how he can turn those into amazing starships. I would be well up for a stream like that. Let's make that happen.
We're putting it together now. Probably we're in April now because March is already going this way. The year is slipping away slightly. But yeah, I reckon we'll put that together. It'd be pretty cool. Anyway, let's discuss Star Trek Strange New Worlds a minute, because we've not discussed the cast yet. I presume you saw the cast announcement, and it looks really cool, doesn't it? So we've got a bunch of new cast members. Do you know how to pronounce any of their names?
Do you know what? I've been practicing this.
Go on, you try.
We got Babs Alusam. Oh, hang on, I messed it up, didn't we? Olusanmoken. There we go. Babs Olusanmoken.
So we don't know who these people are playing just yet. However, we do have an article on TrekCentral.net where we theorize that he might be playing facts, some leaked casting reports, etc. Now we theorize that he might be playing, the ship's doctor potentially. That could be it. Maybe they're recasting Boyce or having another character before Boyce comes on board or after, etc. That could be really interesting.
Yeah, I hope they're not recasting classic characters. I think that the show is taking safely. It was taken a few years after the Cage, of the events in the Cage. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
So I mean, Boyce could have just transferred off the ship. I'm still holding out hope that Boyce is going to be played by Jeffrey Combs. I know that's a really popular fan casting pick. I'd rather see them not cast, although one of the people on this list do look, they bear a striking resemblance to somebody that was in the Cage. Yeah, I mean, with regards to Babs Olusanmoken, there we go, got it right first time there. He's a jiu-jitsu master, so he knows a thing about the old grappling arts. So that has me believe that he could potentially be used in a physical role, potential security chief maybe. He's also fluent in French and Portuguese as well as English, so there's potential for communications officer. So there's a whole load of different things. I mean, it's just difficult at the moment, Jack, because we don't know anything about. There's nothing really about the characters. We just know who is going to be in the show.
We've got very little information about it, and we do have leaked casting reports. But as you know, those casting things, when they do come out and about, usually they are for characters who are slightly named differently and slightly different things, because obviously it doesn't want to give it away. Like when Anson Mount first auditioned for the character, which would be Pike, I believe the character was called Captain Parker. And it's like, well, unless you could probably really string two and two together, you probably wouldn't immediately jump to Pike on hearing Parker think, oh, it's a new captain, isn't it? And particularly how Trek goes, you think, oh, a new captain, quickly, theorize away. Nobody tries to connect the dots. So we don't know who he might be playing this year. Hopefully it'll be something interesting. Again, I also agree with you. Hopefully they don't recast, should we say, legacy characters in a way. That could set a bit of a dangerous precedent. And likely, it may even be, Jeffrey Combs, although he's denied it before, he could turn up as Boyce. He really could, because we've seen the power of fan casting online. I know this happened with Disney Plus, where Rosario Dawson was fan cast as Ahsoka Tano for The Mandalorian. Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, they responded saying, as thanks to the fans, they detected her online and thought, okay, cool, let's get the wheel in motion. So if fans are really keen to see Jeffrey Combs, mention it, because you do not know when the producers of Trek are watching online, and we know they do watch, etc. So who knows? Now we've also got Christina Chong. Now, her character description, we maybe aligned it, could be called Lan, or Lan, however you want to pronounce that. It might be a Vulcan, etc. This is from the Illuminati's casting reports, etc. What do we know about her, Michael?
Yeah, so she might be familiar to people who watch Doctor Who. She was Lorna Bucket in the episode A Good Man Goes to War, so quite popular in the fan community. She was also in the Black Mirror episode The Waldo Moment, probably the least favourite episode of that show. She's been in Line of Duty. She's got credits in 24 Live Another Day. She was also in Halo Nightfall, although I know absolutely nothing about that. I'm sure you do, Captain.
I've watched that years ago.
Yeah?
I'll have to rewatch it again. Halo Nightfall was like a run-up to Halo 5, which was not the best perceived video game in the world, but it was very nice marketing, etc. So I'll have to go back and watch that now, because it'd be really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, she does have an original, her original background is in musical theatre, but an injury did cut short to her career. Obviously, she's gone on to do really good things on TV. Interestingly, she was due to appear in Star Wars The Force Awakens, but her scenes were cut. Other than that, she's been in Johnny English Reborn. That's a good film, by the way. I will die on that hill. And also Madonna's really terrible W.E. movie. But, she's been around, she's experienced. I don't really know much about who she could potentially be playing, but she's got acting chops, and I'll be really intrigued to see what she can bring to Star Trek.
Next up we have Celia Rose Gooding. Now this character potentially may be a cadet on board, because a little putting two and two together, Rebecca Romaine Instagrammed out saying welcome to the crew, and I believe she says huge congrats cadet. Like that could just be like playing along saying cadet etc, like a young person coming aboard the crew, or it could be a bit of a character leak. We don't know. These things do sometimes leak out occasionally, so really interesting. What do we know about Celia?
Yeah, so New York born and based. She's the daughter of Tony Award-winning actress and singer LaChance. I've never heard of her either. She was cast in Jagged Little Pill when she was just 17, and she's performed the role on Broadway up until the beginning of the pandemic. She was nominated for her own Tony Award for the role. She made history with her mother by being the first Black mother and daughter duo to star in a Broadway show at the same time, so real history maker here. Not well known, well, has no credits that I can see with regards to TV and film. So you know, obviously it's different when you're making the transition from theatre, and she's been in musical theatre extensively. She was also in a production called Urinetown. Sounds delicious. But yeah, not really a lot known about this person. Now, my own theory about Celia Rose Gooding is I think she could be a linguistic expert. I mean, this is just, I think if the show wanted to do something interesting is potentially a very young Nyota Uhura, maybe?
That could be interesting. So TJ in the chat here, Star Trek Pike. Now we've seen that Celia Rose, she's really excited to be a part of Strange New Worlds. A couple of Instagram videos have shown how excited she is, because this is her TV debut as well. She's never been on screen before, so this is going to be her big TV debut, which, what a franchise to be a part of as well. Being a part of the Star Trek franchise for your TV debut is fantastic. You're right about linguistics there. This does match with the character description we know, and the codename is Yuba, or Yiboa, however you want to pronounce that. Bat is described as black, in her early 20s, and fresh out of the academy. So again, aligning with the cadet idea there. That also now adds more weight to Rebecca Romaine's comment of welcome, huge congrats, cadet. A linguistics genius, that's a mouthful, bright, promising, and the youngest member of the crew, again aligning there with, the cadet thing. Also, it does sound very similar to Hoshi Sato from Enterprise and Travis Mayweather, also from Star Trek Enterprise as well. I like that, it's really interesting. Her character could be really cool, I can't wait to see that. I'd like to see that. Potentially a young Uhura, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of goes against what I kind of hope for, in the, I think that we have a good opportunity to do something completely different, and I feel like if they bring in old classic legacy characters, that could just be the easy way out. I think that we want to expand the universe that we know, so I kind of hope it's not Uhura, but if they go along with the Uhura route, I think she's a fine actress to step into those boots, or to take the ear candle thing, whatever it's called.
I don't actually know the technical name of that. If anyone in the chat knows the technical name of Uhura's earpiece, please let us know.
Stick it in.
The Enterprise itself, during these years, is almost like a revolving door of crew members. And we see this like with the chief engineer position. I don't know if you've read the book The Enterprise War by John Jackson Miller. That was set during Pike's time while the Klingon War was raging on, and he was off during his 5-year thing on his way back to Starfleet, etc. That there shows they have a different engineer on board. And I believe by the time they Discovery Season 2, there's another engineer on board. We know at some point it's Scotty, and it seems that the chief engineer is a revolving door of personnel aboard the Enterprise. So, again, Uhura doesn't need to be there. These could be new characters, and maybe if we reach Season 7 of Strange New Worlds, happy thinking, it could be introducing these legacy characters. For me, that's how I'd love Strange New Worlds to go. Build the crew up to be, Kirk's crew in a way. That could be really interesting. So start the first couple of seasons out of these original cast members, but then slowly start incorporating the legacy cast. That could be a very interesting way of doing things. What do you think about that in a way? Because it could be an interesting dynamic.
Yeah, I feel like we were spoiled for years with TNG, Voyager, Deep Space Nine, and Enterprise, with these characters that just stayed statically on a ship for a number of years. I mean, they even brought it up in TNG with them saying, when's Riker going to move on? He's such a seasoned first officer. He should be he should be captaining his own ship. I think with TV now being so different, and actors coming in and actors not wanting to get typecast and moving from production to production, I think that we have the opportunity to show a very kind of down-to-earth, very tangible version of Starfleet, where realistically, crews don't stay together forever. I mean, when you go to work and you work for work anywhere, you have people coming and going, right? They don't. I mean, it's very rare that you get a whole. Yeah, it's very rare that you get a senior crew that just stay together for 7 years plus. So I think that what we have is the opportunity to show a revolving door of engineers, of linguistics experts, of helmsmen, of all varieties of departments. So I think that you have the opportunity to introduce this crew. They all look very young, with the exception of Babs, good old Babs. Maybe some of these people go on to other things, widen the universe. Maybe we get more cast members join in season 2. If we get season 2, I'm sure we will. But then maybe some of these people could come back, later on. I mean, there's no reason why not. When TNG started with season 1, we had the revolving door of chief engineers. We never had a chief engineer until season 2. So, there's a lot of opportunity here to introduce characters, let them go off and do their own thing. Maybe they stay for the whole duration. Maybe they don't. They don't have to be killed off Tasha Yar style. But yeah, it's very exciting, the possibilities. And that's all down to the way TV's made now. It's a completely different animal.
So I've seen a quick question from Bjorn in the chat there, or Bjorn0000. So some more Small World, Lieutenant Min no longer on Strange New Worlds. We don't officially know just yet. There has been no official announcement yet. We don't know. They only announced new cast and regulars. She could have a recurring role, just like TJ said there in the chat. Hopefully Lieutenant Min, played by Smallwood, is in Strange New Worlds. I'd love to see her return. She's very keen for the character, clearly on social media, etc. I'm very excited for it. It could just be something they're keeping under wraps. Maybe she's already on board filming. We don't fully know yet. Hopefully there's some more announcements coming later down the line. Continuing on with our cast members though, we do have Jess Bush. Now, who do we know, or what do we know about her?
Yeah, so an Australian actress. She started off, she actually started off as a model. She first appeared on Australia's Next Top Model in 2011. She's come out and been very critical with regards to the modeling industry, is essentially promoting, not promoting, but kind of coaxing her into, not helping her battle with bulimia a number of years ago. She transitioned to acting 2017. She appeared on Home and Away, which that show's helped launch the careers of people like Chris Helmsworth. So
which one's Home and Away again? Is that the Channel 5 one?
Yeah.
It's one of those. No, isn't Home and Away one of those, like, I wasn't going to say really bad, but isn't it one of those really, like, corny, like, British sitcoms? Not British sitcoms, but it's like on one of the main channels, isn't it?
So yeah, I'm at the coast. I'm surfing, and I've got family problems. That's all I've got.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I think it is the one I'm thinking of. I think I remember, like, it's been going for years, isn't it? Like almost decades.
It's like the EastEnders or the Coronation Street or General Hospital in the States.
Yeah, I think I've seen it like before. I just heard the name. I was like, I'm pretty sure I know which one that is.
Yeah. Well, she transitioned to movies. She was in a horror thriller, Skinford, Chapter 2. I've not seen it either. She's also a visual artist, and recently she created an art installation where basically she trapped a whole load of insects in amber and called it a bee totem. It's all there on Instagram. Very interesting, very talented woman, very multi-talented. She's the person that I think could be somebody that appeared in The Cage in Yeoman Colt. The character that the Telosians tried to pair Pike with when the show was, in that first episode. So she bears striking resemblance to that character. If they make her the Yeoman, I wouldn't be surprised.
So, as we've got a character description for Bioden. This would be a nurse type of character. And we kind of paired it with this character in a way. So again, Yeoman Colt or Nurse Chapels came to mind. And I think Nurse Chapel was an older character. I can't remember. I'd have to research back because honestly, this isn't my area of expertise in the Star Trek universe, like the Strange New Worlds thing. I'm more DS9, like TNG and stuff like that. I know a lot of people do like prefer this aspect. It's just one thing I've never jumped into because the original series wasn't fully my cup of tea. Like I love it, don't get me wrong, but not my type of thing to watch. That makes sense. But anyway,
that makes two of us.
Yeah,
that makes two of us.
It's one of those like I like it, I respect. It's the forefront and founding part of the Star Trek universe, but watching it, it's just not the thing I'll like put on to watch, etc.
It's aged horribly. Boo us in the chats. Boo us in the chats.
So Bioden is described, or is basically Miller. She's in her late 20s, early 30s. Corsican, heroic, charming, free-thinking, and the beating heart of sickbay. So clearly a nurse there. Whether that could be Jess Bush's character, we don't know yet. But it is a character description that's been floating around. Obviously, these character descriptions do change by the time it does get to like everything else. We'll have to wait and see if things come out. Anyway, finally on our cast as well with Melissa Navia? How do you not pronounce that?
Navia. Yeah, I think so.
We'll go with that one. So what do we know about her so far?
Colombian-American actress, stand-up comedian. She plays the banjo. She performed her own stunts in a role once, and also, like good old Babs, she knows martial arts, so she could potentially be the security expert. She has an extensive role background in TV, recently appearing in the TV show Billions. She's also been in Homeland, but not as well known as some of the other people on this list.
That'll be interesting to see who she plays then. So we do have thanks to the Illuminati article, we do have another character description called Ortegas, late 20s, Latinx, and experienced vet. She's seen some combat and has a dry wit, described as smart, funny, competitive, and is able to pivot from handling a gun to making a joke. This could be some sort of like new comic relief on the show, potentially. I don't know. With those characters, you got to be very careful how they handle it. It's not seem like they're going to be taken seriously, but got to be like a bit funny at the same time. I would imagine writing that type of character must be very challenging in a sense.
Yeah, all I'm hoping for, Captain Jack, is I just want her to bring the banjo on board. That's all I want to see. Why
on
not?
The bridge, playing away. Someone in the chat just said a minute ago, do you think they'll bring the captain's log to the show as well? Can we? I really hope we can answer them out doing the captain's log. I just want to hear that. Serenade me in captain's logs by Anson Mount. Just come on.
I feel like Discovery has taken steps to reintroduce Captain's Logs to begin episodes, or to kind of have them, second act maybe. They've been doing that a lot more than they used to. I remember when Discovery started, you had the Captain's Log or the First Officer's Log in the first episode, and then I don't remember there being one of note through most of season 1. So it sounds like they listened, they brought it back, because the Captain's Log is really just a way to add some of that context to the episode, and also to kind of give us the information. I mean, essentially it's just a dump of information, isn't it, before we start our adventure. But bring it back, because it's such an integral part of Star Trek, and like you said, Anson Mount's dulcet tones would get us very nicely off to an adventure each week.
Yes, oh, what a man can dream. I really want this opening thing, Enterprise there beautifully in shot, Captain's Log, you got Spock walking on the bridge, and then
Jeffrey Combs walks on as Boyce, and we will literally just go
popping a martini, it's like, finally we're home. When like Han Solo boards the Falcon, it's like, Chewie, we're home. That's gonna be every Trek fan at the Strange New Worlds premiere. I've seen a question in the chat here, and this is a really good talking topic before we jump into other news as well. Do you think they'll bring Kirk in as Lieutenant Kirk? Now, this is something I've seen floating around for quite some time now. There's been a heavy lot of rumors suggesting an actor will play it. We'll go over that another time who it might be. I'm a bit cautious on it. As much as I'd like Kirk to be included, again, it brings back to the idea about either recasting people or going the easy way out by having characters come in too early. I've always said, if Strange New Worlds has to introduce Kirk, and they really want to, make it so it's like a handover thing in a very last episode. So, Pike goes, well, that's me done. Here's the keys, Kirk. Good luck. Don't get a scratch. And that's it,
That was absolutely what I was going to say. Yeah. I'm very much against the idea, really, of them using legacy characters, and Kirk is right up there. These are characters... Pike is a character that we've wanted to explore for a long time. A lot of people have been calling for a Pike show. Yeah. When they announced Enterprise, people were going, well, let's make this a Pike show, right? It's been something that we've wanted for a long time. We don't need Kirk in this. I think Kirk would just kind of overshadow it. We don't need that. The actor that is being rumored for the role is a very talented individual.
Is it Jake? What's he called again? Do you know his name?
Jake Cannavale.
He was in The Mandalorian, wasn't he?
He was. He's the son of Bobby Cannavale. I've probably pronounced that wrong.
I believe his mother is actually one of the execs of Strange New Worlds, or one of Star Trek's current executives, I believe.
Oh yes, it is. I'm not going to look it up because you'll hear keyboard clacking. But she is the executive.
I'll look it up.
She's the executive producer of Star Trek, of Strange New Worlds. She's a co-creator along with Alex Kurtzman. Jenny Lumet, also the daughter of Sidney Lumet. So there's an extensive acting lineage in that family. Very good actor, yes, appeared in The Mandalorian. I think he'd be a good Kirk. I think he'd be a really good Kirk, actually. But I do not want to see it. I don't want to see him as a recurring character. Maybe a guest here and there, and then you give him the keys at the end of the show. Yeah. I know a lot of people... if the show struggles, and we don't really know if these shows struggle because we're not privy to the ratings or anything like that. But if we see Kirk in season 2, that might be indicative that Strange New Worlds isn't doing as well as the studio would like. Again, something to talk about another time.
Yeah, I think that's like a deeper discussion at some point, but
yeah,
I see what you mean.
But my feelings are that I'd rather not see it. I think there's so much scope to explore with Pike and this brand new cast of crew. Let's explore these guys.
We need to learn about this new cast and crew, etc., and see what we've got to offer as well, because you got actresses and actors making their TV debuts as well. This is a really integral time to get them out on that stage, or bridge in this case, and go, hello, this is me, this is what I can do, and really show off their potential. I'm excited for that, because also new characters, you can fall in love with them pretty quickly. Like, you know, even when Enterprise came out, a whole cast of new characters, like, cool, everyone loved Trip, or people like Reed, etc., or Hoshi, everyone finds a new, even with Picard and Discovery, you know, people love Saru currently, and may have not even heard of Doug Jones before Discovery came on. I mean, probably be far-fetched not hear of him, but you get my point. You know, people may have not heard of any of these people, now they've fallen in love with them, etc. They really do need to, you know, see how these people go first.
It's time to explore new stuff. It's
time
to explore
strange new worlds. And that's it,
indeed.
folks. We're out now. Oh, that'd be it. So it's Jenny Lumet we was talking about there. She joined the staff at Star Trek Discovery as a consulting producer, and she's recently become the co-executive producer. She co-wrote Runaway, one of the first short trek mini episodes, which is where Queen Poe meets Tilly, which is a very interesting short trek. More recently, she has signed an overall deal with CBS Studios, as it seems everyone their dog has currently. It seems everyone is signing those deals lately. But no, CBS are, well, Viacom CBS are making a lot of deals currently with prominent creatives for things, which could yield some interesting results later down the line, which would be really interesting. So one of the chats is at Trek Central, do you think they use Chris Pine as Kirk because it's a Kelvin series? So Strange New Worlds is not a Kelvin timeline series. It is a Prime timeline one, as with all the current Star Trek series. The only Kelvin timeline thing is the 3 movies currently. Maybe there's additional movies down the line, and a set of comic books, etc., and stuff like that. But in terms of on-screen things, there's only the films, the series, all Prime timeline, etc. So no, I do not think we'll see Chris Pine back as Kirk. I don't want to say end of, but he may be in a new film.
It's not the Kelvin universe. It's not the Kelvin universe.
We should start every Strange New World stream with that. It is canon. So, you know,
I'd like to see a Kelvin crossover though. Like, let's not rule that out. I'd like to see that.
I feel like they teased the water with that in Star Trek Discovery Season 3, because you had the bit where, was it Yor and Dom's in the chat maybe? I think it was like Lieutenant Commander Yor crossed over from the Kelvin timeline and then died because he was like doing a time-traveling what-to-do-it jumping through the vortex, apparently.
Yeah, so I like that, because if you were to do a Kelvin crossover, then you would have the race against the clock, because they know that it's toxic to cross over to the other timeline. There you've got to speed things up. But I mean, I've long been this fan of having like this massive, like Endgame-esque, you know, crossing of the timelines, having all errors converge in one point. Yeah,
we've got a video coming up on this on Tuesday about, is it time for a Star Trek crossover event? Because I don't know if you're a fan of Marvel as well, but like Endgame and Infinite War, etc. I was gonna say Warfare, that's a game. Were big like events, you know, for crossover. That Trek is also like a golden opportunity to do something like that, because it's almost like a bit more believable thanks to time travel and portals and wormholes. It's a little bit easier in a way to do things like that, and also you've got characters in the same time frame as well. So things like that could happen, but you know, it'll be interesting. I don't know. It's like, it is time for a crossover, but it has to be handled with care in a way, because it could be a bit odd if done incorrectly. So there has to be some real thought into it. And I feel like Trek could be heading in that thing, because we've got a lot of shows on right now. It does make sense to cross them over. And I think Marvel themselves has set a very interesting format for, like, you know, what to do. And Star Wars is following that suit. Obviously, it's owned by Disney as well. But look at Star Wars again. We've got Ahsoka Tano from the Clone Wars and Mando. People are following in those footsteps.
Yeah, I'm really intrigued to see what Marvel are doing with their TV shows and building those into the events that are going to form the end of whatever saga they're building towards. I think the one thing to kind of mention, though, is obviously Disney have all of the money and CBS don't have nearly the same budgets. I know things look wonderful with the TV productions, but, you know, bringing in people like Chris Pine, Chris Helmsworth, and having them on a TV show that comes with movie-level money, it'd be interesting to see if they can pull it off.
I reckon it's one of those projects 5-10 years down the line.
Oh yeah. Let's re-establish Trek as a viable money-making machine.
Yeah.
And then let's see where we can go.
I totally agree. It's yeah. I just saw a question in the chat as well. So Belinda Zuniga, I do apologize, I mispronounced your name. They said, "Do you think there'll be a mirror universe in Strange New Worlds?" And this is an interesting question because I know you've seen the fan theories about Lorca potentially returning and if Pike's going to venture near the mirror universe. And we know JoJo has gone back as well, presumably to set up her Section 31 series. Maybe she lands on the doorstep, literally, of Pike in a way. What do you think about mirror universe in Strange New Worlds? I'm a bit on the fence about it.
So, right, here's where I give you my opinion, and then I try and devil's advocate that and sit on the fence a little bit. I don't want to see any more mirror universe ever in Star Trek. We've gotten so much mirror universe with Discovery. I think it's a played concept. I think it's kind of there mainly because I think it's easier for writers to create characters that are just in perpetual conflict with each other and are just being evil and doing debaucherous things. I think it's just easier to write that rather than a bunch of straight-laced young cadets. However, as we've seen, the Mirror Universe episodes are very popular with the community, popular with the viewers as well. You can only imagine that's why Discovery did so many episodes. I'm sure we are going to see Strange New Worlds tackle Mirror Universe at some point. It'd be interesting to see Anson Mount, Mirror Universe Anson Mount. And like you said, we've got the lingering thread of Jason Isaacs's lost captain. So will we see him again? I think so.
That could be like a great mid-season episode or something like that. In a way, it's just the potential's there, but like I said, we have seen a bit too much. I don't know. We've seen a bit too much of Mirror Universe. And like, as much I'd love to see, I know you just like a Mirror Universe of Anson Mount's Pike. Oh, that would be really interesting. But it may be a bit too much just yet. Like, let's maybe wait for season 2 potentially. Like, maybe not season 1. Maybe a bit too soon. Especially with Discovery just covering as well. Let's maybe wait, for season 2 if we really need to do a Mirror Universe story and set up Section 31 off that. It could spin that series out there. Rescuing Lorca and him teaming up with JoJo. That could be. That's a lovely fan theory I have about how that could spin off. But I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. And I feel like if they are going to be taking the ensemble approach with Strange New Worlds and building these characters and having them as rich, living, breathing components on the Enterprise, I think thrusting them into the Mirror Universe too soon could be potentially detrimental. I'd like to see them play against type once they've been established, quite similar to what Deep Space Nine did with their Mirror Universe episodes. Now, I know that Deep Space Nine probably and arguably did too many Mirror Universe episodes, but by the point they were in the Mirror Universe, the Prime Universe characters were well established. I'd like to see Strange New Worlds take that approach, but Captain, Mirror Universe probably equals money to CBS, so we'll probably see it sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I have a feeling it will be seen. And also, they've got the uniforms left over from Discovery. They can just reuse the costumes and all the assets, etc. It's also roughly the same time as well. It's a similar time frame, so only a few cosmetic changes and bang, you've got something looking like it's just walked straight out of it.
It's happening.
It's not like they had to make entirely new assets, like for 32nd century, whichever one it was. For like Mirror Universe stuff, they just went back to 22nd, 3rd century to do it. I've forgotten the centuries now.
Here's an interesting question, though, Captain. Do you think we could potentially have a time travel episode where somebody from the 32nd century travels back to Strange New Worlds? And if so, do you think that potentially opens up the possibility for a Discovery Strange New Worlds crossover down the line?
I don't know. I mean, they've said specifically that Discovery is not returning to the 32nd century, but we all know occasionally when it comes to when they're invited, I'm like, actually, let's quickly do it. I'm going to say it's possible, but I'm not going to be jumping to see it, if that makes sense, because I prefer Discovery. It's made its bed, it should lie in it now, saying it, because it needs to stay in the 32nd century for its own benefit. I feel like they should leave, Strange New Worlds where it is, and leave Discovery where it is. No more time traveling, etc. Let Discovery play there, make a difference where it is, and let Strange New Worlds do its own thing. Yeah, crossovers are really cool, but if anything, like a time travel thing, maybe from a different era of Trek. It doesn't have to be from the 32nd century. You could have Agent Daniels pop up again. Could be really interesting. Something like that, more. If they really want to do stuff like that, could be interesting, but yeah, I'd say no to that right now. Maybe I'll give some more thought and I'll come back to you, but at a minute, probably a flat no.
Good. Flat no for me too. Let's not do it. I'm
seeing a couple of questions in chat about Admiral Archer, and you did a video on this recently about Scott Bakula's potential return, and I've been a big fan of this. This year is the 20th anniversary of Star Trek Enterprise, one of my favorite series, and I love Archer as a captain. And recently, obviously, his show NCIS, is it Miami or New York? I always forget which one it is.
I think it was New Orleans.
That's the one, yeah. It's not anything I mentioned. One of his shows is now ending, which is, fair enough. However, he is on the CBS payroll. It's kind of funny in a way. It's like, if they said, in a way, it's like, oh, your show here at CBS is ending, but you could come and join us over on this show. And very recently, last year, he came back for Star Trek Day. So could we see a Scott Bakula return? What do you feel about that?
I mean, I hope this happens with every fiber of my being. Yeah, I made a video recently. I've got a theory on it. I don't think my personal, I mean, again, as just a fan, I don't really know the ins and outs. I'd prefer it. I don't think Bakula's going to be returning full time. I think that would potentially take the shine off of what Anson Mount's attempting to do with his Pike and the rest of this talented cast that they're assembling. But I think there's some scope for a passing of the torch moment, and a lot of people have been clamoring for this, myself included. I think what a lot of people get confused and get kind of the sticking point is my idea being Scott Bakula, Captain Archer, well then an Admiral Archer, probably retired at that point, takes a tour of the Enterprise. Just as
McCoy did it in TNG in the very first episode.
Exactly. And what we have is maybe we have a flashback to the commencement ceremony for the Enterprise, because we already know the Enterprise
is actually, yeah, you've got a point there, really, because I believe in beta canon and the extended books thing, Admiral Archer, or actually it would have been President Archer at that point, retired, because he became Federation President in the book, spoiler alert. I believe, like, before he died, he viewed the Enterprise, or what would be Pike's and Robert April's Enterprise, like a day before he died or something like that. So like he viewed it like getting commissioned. So they could modify a story like that and have a flashback to when the USS 1701 Enterprise was commissioned with Robert April, have like an Archer maybe in a wheelchair, they're standing by the side, etc. Have it like they're ready to launch. It could be a very cool flashback for the ship to give it that birthright, because we've not seen the like birth of the Enterprise on screen. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think we've ever seen it launched properly, like the first time.
Yeah, or a potential alternative idea that I am just spitballing here, so bear with me, everybody. But what if we do some sort of sequel episode to the worst Enterprise episode that isn't the finale? We go back to Terra Nova, Shale, and Pike doesn't know what to do with this group of people on the planet, and to do that he has to, I don't know, watch old entries by the president retired Archer, because he might be dead by this point, but they could bring him back in the form of logs, of archival footage, of just flashbacks. But you could maybe do a sequel to some sort of Enterprise episode. I don't know why they do it with Terra Nova, so I'm just spitballing that.
It's potentially, there is potential for it to be there, and I have a feeling Scott Bakula might be up for it now. I mean, he did appear on Star Trek Day. It does seem very coincidental that he's appeared in it. He's like, poked his head into Star Trek again. His show's ending. He is on CBS's payroll, because NCIS Orleans is a part of Viacom CBS. So it'd be very easy for them to go, well, how about you come and work over this and we'll give you some money? It's like, because business is very straightforward in that regard.
Well, he's made no secret of his love of Star Trek. He absolutely loved the role of Archer. It was one of his favorite things that he's ever worked on is in his career. He always wanted to be, he said, if we could actually go to space for real, of course, I'd love to be a captain on a ship. So this, for me, I get the feeling that it's not just a paycheck. It's something that he feels that he potentially has unfinished business with Enterprise after its unceremonious dumping all those years ago. And what a way to close the book on one of the best characters in Star Trek history in President Archer. I'm corrected, President Archer retired.
It could be done. I would love to see it. I think it'd be fantastic. There is potential for it. I think maybe we'll have to discuss this in a whole video or like stream at some point, because I would love to see it back, because
we need an Enterprise love fest. We do.
I mean, it's the 20th anniversary, so we can get plenty of that this year. We here at Trek Central, as we round out this live stream, I've got plenty of Star Trek Enterprise content coming soon. I'm working on some Romulan War stuff, as that is one of my favorite aspects of Enterprise, which should have been shown on screen. Oh, if we'd seen that. Don't forget, you can check out our Secret Enterprise video as well. Just quickly, we did learn some more information about Prodigy. It may be coming out in August 2021. Not confirmed just yet, but it does look like, thanks to Nickelodeon upfront, Prodigy is on track for this year. We already knew that, but it may be looking to come August 2021. No confirmation of that yet, but it does look like Nickelodeon are releasing a show in June, July, August, September. So they've got a show every month. So if it's to be believed, Prodigy will nicely land in August. Then again, it could air on Paramount Plus earlier or later. Again, we'll have to wait and see. Likely there'll be an announcement probably in May, I'd probably predict, if all things go to plans. I do believe Viacom, CBS and Paramount are doing their upfronts, or if not investor relations. To your Dom of a chat, please correct me on that one if I've got it wrong. But it is coming in that date, so we'll likely learn release dates and more information from the press there and then. How are you looking forward to Prodigy, by the way? You're going to be jumping towards it or giving it a bit of a miss? What do you think so far?
Boy, oh boy, did we tack this on at the end.
I looked at the notes. Oh, shit.
I'm looking forward to Prodigy. I mean, it's a different flavor, it's a different piece of Star Trek for a completely different audience. And you know, I've got a young son on the way, so a new Trekkie that's coming into the world. And what we need kind of content to help kind of dip these kids into the Star Trek pool, because you know, if you think about it, you've got 800 episodes and counting of Star Trek and 13 movies, for 13 movies, whatever. And you know, that's an intimidating prospect. So to give these kids, a fun-friendly cartoon, something that we adults are clearly going to be watching, I think that's great. I mean, the character artwork, it did look a little bit potentially like riffing off of Star Wars and other sci-fi properties. However, I think there's enough uniquely Star Trek stuff in there. Interested to see just the voice cast. We don't know anything about those guys yet, but you know, it's far too early to kind of go, oh, that's not Star Trek, and you know, shit on it or anything like that. I think let's see some more stuff, but of course we're going to be watching it. Of course. Yeah,
I'm definitely. I mean, immediately I've got a picture on my screen right now. I don't immediately think, oh yes, I'm definitely going to watch that. But then again, it's not technically aimed at me in a way, because it's aimed at younger audiences in a way, so it may not engage me. However, if I was, you know, X amount of years younger, should we say, I may look at that and go, actually, yeah, this seems really exciting, etc. I bet years ago when I was watching Cartoon Network and all the weird shows on that on Boomerang, which I used to be called on Sky Plus, oh, those were the days, I'd probably easily watch a show like that with a ship flying around and, you know, all of that sort of thing. It'd be really interesting, but I'll wait until we see it.
I mean, we're Trek Central. We've got to watch it.
Exactly. Right? We will be reviewing and watching here and letting people know our opinions of it, because it'll be really interesting. And I bet it'll be one of those shows which everyone can enjoy. I have a feeling it's going to be like that. It's not going to be like a baby kids show where you have to be 5 years old to watch it, like, you know, some of us. I guess it's like one of those things where anyone can enjoy it. It's just tailored more towards, you know, a younger audience in a way. A bit like how the Clone Wars started out from Star Wars. We all know how that one ended up. There was men crying at the end because it was very emotional.
Well, it looks very kind of Big Hero 6, and I don't just say that because one of the characters looks a bit like Baymax. It looks geared around, you know, pre-teen kids. Yeah. You know, we know Lower Decks is mature teens and adults. This is, you know, going the other way. It's not going to be for preschoolers, but it's going to be for kids, probably, you know, 8 upwards. And of course, as adults, we're going to be sneaking in some watches. Why not? We're Star Trek fans, right?
Exactly. Yeah, definitely. I think it's really going to be interesting to watch how that goes, and hopefully we're going to get some more news from it soon, hopefully a trailer, because I believe Lower Decks Season 2 and Prodigy, they're going to be our first things we'll see this year, and I believe it's Discovery Season 4 roughly at the end of the year. Again, no official dates just yet, but we'll have to wait and see, because it'll be very interesting. That does start rounding us out towards the end of Trek Central Weekly this week. We've had a fantastic discussion. Michael Treklad, thank you for joining us. It's been a great discussion. I'm glad we've got you on board for a couple more streams, you know, coming up, and you know, this year as well, because I think our discussions are going to be very, very intense and very informative as well.
It's an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for having me on board.
And of course, you're now hosting a watch party over on your channel, aren't you, which is youtube.com/Treklad. What are you watching tonight?
We're watching Emissary, the Deep Space Nine first episode. It is available to stream with me on the platform Cast. I'm dropping a cheeky link in the chat. So all you need to do is download the Cast app. I'm probably going to be getting going in a couple of minutes. I do need to use the bathroom before we get going, but we'll be watching the feature-length episode, Emissary. Come and watch it with us.
That, of course, wraps us up on Trek Central Weekly for March 21st. We're almost out of March right now. We're back here on YouTube every Sunday at 9 p.m. GMT. Watch me change his words. I believe the clocks do go forward or backwards next weekend. However, keep an eye on our social media and we'll update you on times. We are switching to BST very soon. That just roughly changes, but don't worry. All our times on the website, and of course you can set reminders here on the YouTube channel for the immediate time we go live. Simply hit that notification bell, subscribe for more, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, visit our website, or join our community Discord server, links down below. That is our community hub, and we're looking to upgrade it soon with your input, and we'd love to have more of you there. For now, I've been Captain Jack here on Trek Central Live, joined by Trek Live this week. Don't forget to check out his channel and join his watch party, etc. And we'll be back next week, hopefully with Dom discussing some more aspects of the Star Trek universe. For now, my friends, live long and prosper, and we'll see you very soon. Goodbye.
Bye.